Let's get started with a quick take on the CEO of Colorado-based Seattle Fish Company, James Iacino, deciding to challenge Republican Congressman Scott Tipton in Congressional District 3. Patty Cahoon, again, thank you so much for filling in so well for the last couple of weeks. What do you think of this challenger to Scott Tipton? They have said he's vulnerable, but they said that the last 3 times he's won. So I take this with a grain of salt. Is he more vulnerable this time?
Well, certainly no one is happier to see you back than I am, Dominic. And I'm also happy to see this candidate jump in against Tipton. Interesting long-term family in Colorado. You know, they've had this successful fish business, kind of a next generation candidate for Colorado. And I think he could catch fire.
David Kopel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. David, I would imagine that Tipton with a district, CD3 is all the western slope, and then it sweeps in and includes Pueblo. Pueblo has long been a city that it's interesting for Colorado politically. You have it's Democrats, but you've got a long-term, I think, what they call blue dog Democrats, where Democrats are still pro-Second Amendment. Does James Iacino have a chance against Tipton in this district?
Well, like the lottery advertising used to say, if you don't play, you can't win. And if the lottery advertising had been truthful, it would have also said, but you're probably going to spend a lot of your money and you're going to lose. So that's the most likely scenario, but he could get lucky. There could be a historic statewide landslide, even bigger than some of the previous elections, because Donald Trump is unpredictable, and who knows how far he could drag down the Republican Party in that district. So he's got a shot.
Join us for the first time at the table, Melanie Asmar, reporter with Shakopee, Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us, Melanie. You'll also be able to see her as a judge on both sides of the story earlier tonight and then next week, so be sure to check her out there. Melanie, thanks for joining us. We hear a name like this going against Tipton. I got to believe that if he is indeed vulnerable, Scott Tipton, that we might hear other names. Do you think this is going to attract more attention as we move forward?
Possibly. I don't know too much about politics in that part of the state, but I was reading up on Iacino, and the 2 things he seems to be talking about are healthcare costs and also that he wants people to eat more fish.
Well, at least he's being focused. That's good. Yeah. And rounding out the panel, Wendy Howell is back with us, Deputy Director of the Colorado Working Families Party. Wendy, wrap it up for us. Do you think this is going to attract more attention as a race now that Iacino's in?
You know, I think it was already an interesting race. It's one of those races that's continually sort of on the bubble for national Democrats. And 2020 is a very interesting year. People are already predicting record turnout, et cetera. So if there's a year where it's going to happen, it's probably 2020. But I also think it's going to be an interesting primary given the other folks in the race.
Hear, hear.